Hello ladies and gentlemen, this is Kangaroothless, and I'm bringing you another StarCraft 2 commentary. This will be a Zerg versus Terran on the map Antiga Shipyard, and I'm really excited to bring you guys this cast because it is my first ever pro cast. Yes indeed, ladies and gentlemen, let me introduce you to the two players in the left hand position. Spawning as the blue Terran will be FXOqxc, very strong Terran player, is actually also known as the Bandana Man, and is well known for his very off-the-wall strategies as well as his harass. And FXO got some notoriety, or I guess got some fame in Korea recently with his all-kill against team, I think it was IM. Yep, I'm pretty sure it was IM. Yes, it was IM, and he especially got a kill against MVP, so that was a really big win for him. Let's go ahead and introduce his Korean opponent. As you can tell here, it actually says SlayerSYugioh, so Slayers is known for more than just Terrans. They also have Zergs. Good Zergs, might add at that. And yes, like I said, this will be on the map. What is this called? Antiga Shipyard. Now, we do know a little bit about QXC. Like I said before, he's known for his harasses. I know he likes drop plays, especially. And in PvT, I think it was against Adel Scott, we saw some Mass Reaper late game going into snipe buildings like Nexuses and other tech structures. It's just really nice harass by QXC. And about Yugioh, I don't really know that much about Yugioh. I think I've seen him a few times. I know he's been in Code A a lot. I think he's been in every Code A that there's been. That might be his claim to fame. But he is a pretty strong Zerg, so let's go ahead and get this cast underway. Looks like Yugioh went for a 15 hatch. He's waiting a bit here before he goes for his pull, so just now throwing down a gas, and I think he's going to go for a pretty late pull on this map. Now, here's the thing that's pretty interesting about this game. I'm not going to try and give away any spoilers, but Terrans usually have some sort of opening that they do to punish a 15 hatch, and the most popular, of course, is the 2 racks. But on large maps like this, especially if you don't spawn close positions, it's not as effective. So you have to come up with something a little bit more creative, and a lot of Terrans have also been going for this reactored Hellion build, or Blue Flame Hellions. QXC has something in mind that is a little bit different than all of those sorts of plays combined. Ooh, a little bit of lag there, sorry about that. And let's see, will this drone get in and scout what is going on in QXC's base? No, he will get picked off by the 2 Marines of QXC. The Marines are running over to meet up with the drone, or maybe they're just going to the watchtower. The SCV still hasn't scouted where Yugioh has spawned. And look at this here, a quick second gas for QXC. He's throwing down a factory and a reactor on his barracks. This will allow him to get out a couple of Hellions, or if he wants to go for Marines first, he can also get out a couple of Marines. But QXC is going to see that Yugioh has spawned in this location, and he won't really be able to do any sort of bunker harass, but he does know the position, and he might be able to get these Marines up in here to do a little bit of economic harassment. But 4 Zerglings for Yugioh are on the way. They do need to be careful and not run into these Marines. He only takes 1 shot, so very nice control. And now I think the Lings will start to pick away at these Marines. But meanwhile, look at this. A Ghost Academy is going down for QXC, so he's going to open up with Ghosts and Hellions. Now let's get back to this real quick fight. Looks like, yeah, very nice micro from both players. The Marines will go down, and the SCV will be chased away. But, I mean, look at this Ghost opener. You need a lot of gas for this. And I think right off the bat, yeah, he's making 2 Hellions, and he doesn't want this scouted. If SlayerSYugioh sees this tech lab on this barracks and this reactor on this factory, he won't know exactly what's up, but he'll have a fair idea. But I think these Hellions are going to pop out just in time to fend off this. Yes, they do kill the Zergling, and the SCV will get away with his life. So 2 Hellions on the way. They're moving straight towards Yugioh's base. Now that he's seen these Hellions, I'm sort of surprised he's making a couple of more Lings. And I'm surprised he's not trying to throw down any SimCity, like any evolution chambers and maybe a spine. Instead, he's just going to try and take care of this with just a handful of Lings, but that's going to be really hard to do without speed. And right off the bat, I want to point this out. QXC is going for a nuke, so this is a nuke rush with Hellion support. Now these Lings have gotten speed, and they should be able to pick off these Hellions, but if these Hellions are controlled correctly, he might just be able to kill all of these Zerglings. Very nice micro here, moving the injured Hellion away from the pack of Zerglings, moving all the Hellions together. And look at this, I don't think he's actually going to kill any of the Hellions. So 3 Hellions do remain, and a Ghost is on the way towards the front. The nuke is just about ready, and more Hellions are on the way. 3 more Hellions on the way. And they should be able to meet up with this force quickly enough. Now, these Zerglings will not be enough to fend off this. I don't know why he's holding back with so many of these Zerglings. He's only 3 Hellions here, and I think QXC is going to find a nice spot to nuke, and down goes the nuke. The nuke has gone off, and there's not much that Yugioh can do at this point. Just too many Hellions. He's going to try and focus fire the Ghost, but there just might not be enough. He doesn't want to run back, keep these Zerglings away from there because the Hellions might go down, but the nuke is going to land. It's going to take out both of these Spine Crawlers and do a significant amount of damage to the hatchery. Now these Zerglings are going to come in and get a nice surround on the Hellions, but I think they're going to go for the Ghost. This might be a mistake here. You really want to save those Zerglings for the Hellions. So 5 Hellions are going to remain. A Queen is going to block the ramp in the meantime. And I don't think QXC's done. He wants to make another nuke, and he might want to nuke again. But if this Queen does not move, she will take fire from these Hellions. The Hellions do take down the Queen, and 5 Hellions are going to enter the base of SlayerSYugioh. 2 Banelings warping in, and let's see how many drone kills he can get. I know he's gotten a few right there. I think about 4 drone kills, and now he's going to get yet another from the fire of these Hellions, who are not being quite well controlled, not doing nearly as much damage. The drones are just going to run back to the other base, and they won't be able to the Hellions won't really be able to leave without suffering too much damage from these Spine Crawlers. So a couple of very low level Hellions, a few more Hellions are trying to come in and continue harass, but nice Spine Crawler placement, and the Queen will be able to fend them off. Meanwhile, these Hellions are just picking away and make sure that no drones come in here to mine. And I think Yugioh's yes, is going to warp in a couple of more Banelings to get rid of these Hellions. And really just nice harass from QXC. Let's look at the units lost tab, or the workers lost. He only got 6 workers with that entire harass. And I think at this point in time, there are going to be no more workers up in the line. These Hellions will not be able to escape. So they will get chased down by the Zerglings and the Banelings. Yugioh should really keep his Banelings alive. Okay, he does. And so now this harass will finally subside. But there's just 4 more Hellions out here, out in the front. And meanwhile, Yugioh has decided he wants to poop creep at the expansion of QXC, who's trying to pull an extension himself. And it's just too bad that this Overlord is in the way, blocking it with creep. And I don't know if he's paying attention. I don't think he's paying attention at all. I think he's timed this out. So yeah, he drops a mule, but there's Overlord poop in the way, so he will not be able to utilize that mule the way he wants. Meanwhile, Hellions are just up at the front researching Blue Flame, and as well he's making a medevac. I like this. He should be able to ferry these Hellions into the main, which is now relatively undefended. Just a couple of Banelings at the ramp and very nice locations. And I don't think QXC will be able to attack in this direction. Be very difficult for him, to say the very least. And the Overlord is finally taken out, but this command center still cannot land until the creep subsides. So let's see what he's done behind this. He's made a starport, he's made another factory, and just a couple of more barracks. He's adding on tech labs on a couple, and he does have a reactor on another. And since he did, QXC did kill that Overlord, Yugioh is a little bit supply locked. Yugioh is taking this time to move up the Spine Crawlers. QXC does get a nice hit off on the Banelings, and so now he won't be able to poke up in here as much, but once this medevac does arrive, he will be able to ferry the units into the main base of Yugioh, should he decide to do so. And meanwhile, Roach Warren going down, as well as a Spire for Yugioh. Very nice position of the Roach Warren here, and the Spire will pop in the back momentarily. But let's see here. Yes, the Hellions are picked up in the medevac, and the medevac will drop, so let's see if QXC can do some damage. He is behind in Harvesters, but I think with this attack, he should be able to do some massive damage. Units are frantically running back to the drone line to help out. So many drone kills, and I think QXC is going to pick up 3 of the Hellions, only 1 of them going down. So very nice, sort of evening out the Harvesters. Now it's 44 to 40. And as we can see here with the mules, Terran can just pull way ahead as far as mineral income. But meanwhile, you know, Yugioh's doing a pretty nice job with this drone saturation, and I think he'll be fine. This drop won't be able to do much because there's just so many spines well positioned and everywhere. And I think this drone is going to make an expansion. I think, yes, he will. He will go to make an expansion. And now the medevac is forced to run. And the Hellions are going to check up here for the 3rd. They do scout the 3rd. And the Mutas will be able to pick off the rest of this harass. So very nice opening from QXC. But now that there are a lot of Mutalisks out in the map, Well, actually, yeah, there's about 5 or 6 Mutalisks out on the map, and these Hellions will go down if they're not controlled carefully. But I don't think he's really paying attention to these Hellions per se. I think he's more paying attention to throwing down missile turrets, because once these Mutalisks come in, they can just harass away, and QXC won't be able to defend with much. Meanwhile, some Banelings are coming in. A few Baneling hits on that Hellion. That's kind of a waste of Banelings in my opinion. And more Banelings are going to come in, do some nice damage to these Marines, but meanwhile, these Mutalisks have shut down the turret production, and they are just going to pick away at the production facilities of QXC. He will not be able to make any more turrets in this area until some Marines can come out to pick it up, but he's just picking off more and more Marines as they spawn. They do have combat shield. I do not believe they have stem. Yes, they do have stem, actually. And these stem Marines, they will be enough to cause a cancel on this hatchery. Very nicely done by QXC. Yugioh, meanwhile, is just massing Lings and Banelings. And really, if he were to push out here, this would be a pretty nice timing. But I think he's going to wait. Yes, it is a good idea to wait because more Marines and a tank is on the way. Meanwhile, these Mutalisks are still in the base of Terran, and they're just doing so much economic harass. QXC really just can't reinforce as much as he would like because all of these Mutalisks are just in here picking everything off. He's going to focus fire down more Marines, and really he's finally going to back off. No, he's just going to get a better position so all these Marines don't pop out and begin to pick away at his Mutalisks. He's going to probably pick away at this reactor, and I think this would be a good time for him to head out. He's going to pick off one more Marine, and now would be a good time to head out. He does head out with these Mutalisks. Meanwhile, QXC has a nice contain outside of Yugioh's base. It's going to be really hard for Yugioh to really go anywhere until he can clean up this contain, and really it's just to delay the third. QXC wants to delay the third for as long as possible. These Mutalisks are being shooed away by the Marines, and they might go back into position. Yes, they will position themselves behind the army. Marines not quite paying attention. 32 more Zerglings are on the way, and I think this will be the time. Yes, Centrifugal Hooks has completed, and now these Lings and Banelings will be enough to take out this army. A lot of Baneling hits on this tank. That's not very useful, not very good utility of the Banelings. But overall, this contain has been cleared, and Yugioh is back in the game. Meanwhile, another contingent of forces is content to take the watchtower, but this mass of Zerglings and Mutalisks should be plenty to take out the rest of this. Blue Flame Hellion's doing a nice job picking away at these Zerglings. He's going to lose a lot of Zerglings here. This is going to be really bad for Yugioh, but he does have more Banelings and Zerglings coming in, and will be enough to take out the rest of this force. I don't think these reinforcements are going to get anywhere, so all the reinforcing units do go down, but more Marines are on the way. They do stem and pick off one of the Mutalisks, and oh, he's actually stopped with the Mutalisks. He will pick off another Mutalisk, so very nicely done. Meanwhile, behind this, Yugioh is gone for a double expansion. He wants to take this gold, and as well, he wants to take this third. It's a bit risky because it's really hard to control these two expansions, or really to make sure these two expansions can stay alive for long enough to go to any use. But you know, at this point, Yugioh does have map control, and it looks like QXC wants to take a third, but again, it's being blocked by Overlord creep. Pesky, pesky Overlords. And so let's look here. He has quite a few barracks down. He is starting on his 2-2 for his Marines. So that means he does have an armory down somewhere. There it is, but no upgrades on the mech. And these Mutalisks are going to come in and harass again, but there wasn't really anything going down on that tech lab. It would have been smarter maybe to pick off the tech lab on that factory to slow down tank production. But at any rate, Yugioh does secure this third. He will have this gold up momentarily. And as well, this Hellion is just scouting around. So really, pretty action-packed opener so far from both players. And I'm not sure what these Zerglings are doing. I guess they're just running out, patrolling around the map. And this is a huge flock of Mutas here. We have 16 Mutalisks out in this flock. And okay, so Yugioh is moving up more of these spine crawlers to protect this gold. As well, when he throws down this, yes, he's throwing down this command center, immediately making turrets, because he will want to move his army out eventually to deal with this, to punish Zerg, really, for taking these two bases. He did scout the gold base going down for Yugioh, and this Mutalisk harass is going to do a bit of damage, but this is pretty much going to make QXC push out with his army. These Zerglings do need to retreat because there are Blue Flame Hellions there to clear them away. And a lot of Mutalisks here, but he needs Banelings, so 11 Banelings being morphed in right now. All the drones are pulling back, except for a few who will get shelled momentarily. Meanwhile, tanks are besieging this hatchery. It might go down. He is going to pick off one of the tanks, so only 2 tanks remain, and there are 3 medevacs, so these Marines will stay at full health for quite some time. I'm not sure if I agree with this. I know he's trying to buy time with these Mutalisks, but I guess he's waiting for a couple of more Zerglings to come. But I think he's actually just going to sack. Yes, QXC is going to sack his gold and go for a counterattack. Great idea, because it's pretty much undefended at this point. Just a handful of Marines against a bunch of Zerglings and a bunch of Mutalisks. Be plenty to take out the rest of this force. And Banelings are rolling in as well, so no reinforcing units will be able to do much. Meanwhile, Zerglings are coming into the mineral line and picking away at these SCVs. And these Banelings are going to get a nice hit off on the Marines. All the Marines do go down, and a lot of SCVs go down as well. QXC is forced to pull back with his forces, and the Mutalisks are in the main base of QXC, able to pick off 2 medevacs. Very nicely done by Yugioh. And now that the Marines have run away, they are going to leave these tanks pretty much undefended. The Mutalisks will be able to come in and pick them off. So nicely done by both players. But again, QXC is on 3 bases, and so is Zerg. Zerg does not want to be in this position. And a lot of these Marines as well are in very low health because there's only 1 medevac out. Another medevac is on the way. And man, this is going to be really difficult. Oh, big Baneling hit from Yugioh, but it's not going to be enough to clear out the rest of these Marines. They will push forward. But just look at how many Mutalisks are out on the map. Just so many. This gold base is trying to go down again, and these Marines will start to pick away at the base, as well as his Blue Flame Hellion, but that doesn't do too much. Oh, he doesn't need to engage with these Mutalisks. He's going to lose so many Mutalisks here. He does need to just sack the gold. And right now, 23 Banelings are morphing in. 3-3 has started for QXC, so getting really fast upgrades for his Marines. These Mutalisks are going to fly back and see what kind of harassment they can do. And that's going to force the Marines for QXC to turn back. He doesn't really have much to defend this. Just a couple of Marines, and these Mutalisks will be able to pick away at them with ease. And it's so many Mutalisks here. And if he's able to pick out these Marines, he can take out the medevac and the siege tank and leave this base relatively undefended. He will start to pick away at the tank. And it looks like this Marine contingent will be forced back to deal with this harass. But yeah, he finally does take out the last Marine, and he will take out the medevac as well. But only 3 Mutalisks do remain, and these Marines... Oh, he's going to fly right over these Marines. The Marines take out the rest of the Mutalisks, but 7 more are on the way. Meanwhile, Yugioh has gotten this base nicely saturated. This base is a bit oversaturated. He does need to take a 4th. And more Mutalisks are on the way. Meanwhile, 3-3 is about to finish, and +1 armor has started for Yugioh's Zerglings and Banelings. These Marines at the Watchtower will get cleaned up, and lots of Zerglings and Banelings here, but they don't want to engage. That's the word I was looking for. They don't want to engage the Blue Flame Hellions. A lot of Banelings going off on these Hellions, and not the best Marine control. He will get a lot of those taken out by the Banelings. Meanwhile, the Mutalisks are going to pull back as more Marines are on the way. And now QXC is taking a defensive posture. He can't push out any further. Zurich has obtained map control, or at least control of this area, and is going to take his 4th. Very nice creep set from Yugioh. And once again, this Marine is just patrolling around, making sure that no other bases are going up. Very nicely done by QXC, just making sure that there are no other bases up, and he won't have to waste any scans to do that. Meanwhile, a couple of Mutas are coming in here to harass. They will be joined up by a lot more Mutalisks, actually. And I think this will be enough to take out, yes, this will be enough to take out the missile turret, and he can start going to town on the rest of these barracks, and as well in this Ghost Academy. I think he's target firing the Ghost Academy, yes he is, but QXC in the meantime is going to siege and start taking his position here. A couple of Baneling hits going off on these Zerglings, but QXC has taken... Oh, a very nice Baneling hit by Yugioh, who is going to pick off one of the medevacs, so only 1 medevac does remain. And this push is not going to be very well fated. He's warping in more Banelings, and Infestors are actually on the way. I'm not sure why Yugioh continues to harass with these Mutalisks. He needs to protect them, keep them back just a little bit. But very nice positioning by the siege tanks for Yugioh. He can't really engage this. It's just a really nice line of tanks. Will take a lot of Zerglings to clear that up. and they're only at 1-1. Oh, I'm sorry, they're actually at 2-1 with the they do 7 damage with the +2 attack, and that's, you want to get to 3-3 against Marines, but 2-2 Zerglings do pretty well against Marines as well. But these Marines are 3-3, so Banelings are definitely needed. Very nice upgrades for both players. Meanwhile, Yugioh is going for his 5th and 6th base. A couple of drones are conga lining over here to start saturating this base, and it looks like we are going to have an engagement. No, we're not. Yugioh will pull back for the time being. 4 infestors are on the way, as well as pathogen clans. This will time out very nicely. Creep is getting spread everywhere, so nice creep spread by Yugioh. He should have a very nice vision over his portion of the map. And meanwhile, more Mutalisks are just coming in, and they are picking away at these Marines. He doesn't want these tanks to get too far forward, and I think this will actually get Yugioh to engage here. No, he is going to fall back, and he will pick off this encroaching tank. So I think only 4 more tanks, but meanwhile, QXC is taking his gold base. This will boost his income significantly. He's mined out pretty much at his 2nd, and his 3rd is about mined out as well, so he definitely needs this income. Let's look at the income tab, actually. 78 to 49. So nicely done by Yugioh here. And as the tanks are trying to reposition, they are going to get picked off by these Zerglings, but nice focus fire from these tanks picking off the rest of the Zerglings. These spine crawlers won't have much to do, and nice fungals going off. Another round of fungals will be able enough to take, oh, very nice fungal on the Marines, and a second fungal should be able to take out the rest of them. So nice big fungals. But meanwhile, the tank line has gone further and further up. He is starting to shell away at this 4th. It might go down again, and that would be a very big hit for Yugioh. More infestors are on the way, as well as Banelings and Zerglings. So I think he's subsided with his usage of Mutalisks for the time being, and will just focus on Baneling, Ling, Infestor. Again, more nice fungals going off on these Medivacs and these Marines. Medivacs are at about half health, but he's pretty low on Infestor energy. I'm not sure what these Infestors are doing. They're getting too close to these Marines. More Zerglings are going to come and be able to take out this one Marine, but so many Zerglings going down. Another nice fungal from these Infestors. It should be able to take out a couple of these Marines. More Marines do go down, yes. But just so many Infestors here. What's the count on Infestors? He has 8 Infestors, 10 Infestors out. This base is once again under siege from these siege tanks. And just more and more tanks coming up. But on this production, he has 6 bases right now, and he has an incredible income. Let's look at that again. 1,500 and 700 gas coming in, so he's just going to be able to make tons and tons of units. Zerglings and Banelings and Infestors coming in, dropping tons of fungals as well as Infested Terran. Should be enough to push back this contain. He's going to throw down even more Infested Terran just to keep pushing this this contain back. But these Blue Flame Hellions are actually really good against Infested Terran. But now all that's left is a handful of Marines and one Hellion, who will get picked off by the Spine Crawler. Woo! Meanwhile, more Zerglings are on the way, as well as Glue Over Constitution, so Yugioh is going to change it up and start going for Roaches here. This tank will not be allowed to get into siege mode, and as well, I think he overextended himself. I think QXC went a little bit too far with this contingent Marines, but he might be able to actually kill this expansion. If he's able to kill this expansion, that would be huge. And denying this, one fungal does go down, and maybe a second fungal here, but will it be enough? I'm not sure. These Medivacs are just healing so much. The Marines are just refusing to die, and this hatchery will go down. Meanwhile, a drop has commenced, and this 5th base for Yugioh will go down as well, so very nicely done by QXC. But now he just doesn't have very many units. He has 1 Thor, 27 Marines, and 1 tank. And scratch that, 23 Marines, and just a handful of Medivacs. And actually Zerg has 11 Infestors, 12 Roaches, but not many Zerglings here. But I think it won't really be an issue here. These Roaches will be enough to take out this Thor. As well, these very nice fungals going for Yugioh. He will be able to take out a large portion of this army, and the Roaches should be enough to pick the rest of this up. He will do another fungal, and the tank will go down. These Marines are refusing to die yet again. More Roaches are streaming in, and he needs to fall back with these Roaches. And meanwhile, Yugioh has done so much damage. QXC just doesn't have any map control. He's just trying to get control of this tower, but is being denied every time. He has 4 medevacs with empty energy for the most part. And I think this little push right here, oh, he's not in controlling his infestors too well. I think the roaches and fungals will be enough to take out the rest of these marines and medevacs. And so yes, all of the medevacs do go down, or not the medevacs, the marines do go down. And more tanks trying to siege up here, but a lot of these roaches are coming in. Nice fungal going off on the worker line. Tons of workers go down, and I think this roach push will be enough to push back QXC, who's finding himself in a very difficult spot here. These marines accidentally getting picked up by QXC will finally be able to drop, and I think this medevac will go down. So yes, only 1 medevac left for QXC. And just so many infestors, that's just unlimited energy, really. Let's go back to the production tab. More roaches and zerglings on the way. Yugioh is doing a great job keeping down his minerals and gas. Wow. I think both players at this point really just want to get another army, really. More SCVs are trying to expand, trying to go to this expansion, which has been blocked by these zerglings. Meanwhile, this contingent of marines will go down. Not sure why these Vikings are here. I guess he's expecting broodlords to come very shortly. I mean, Yugioh is on 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 bases, only 2 of which are mining. This base just now starting to mine. And let's look at the income tab. He still has 57 workers here, so I'm not sure why I guess he's trying to long distance mine from this gold. So really only 1 mining base. And both players are just really trying to stay in the game right here. This has been a really exciting game. Oh my god, if these SCVs get spotted and they get fungal, that would be nasty. But as well, nice marine spread from QXC. He will begin to pick away at this drone line. Lots of drone kills going down. The fungal does go down on the marines, but so many drones here are going down. So many workers killed. This marine drop has more than paid for itself. And QXC doesn't really have anywhere else to gather minerals. He's trying to grab this expansion. And really, if Zerg can deny this expansion, he will pretty much win the game. Because QXC doesn't really have any income. That tank will go down. And as you can see here, he just doesn't have enough for reinforcements at all times. This is starting to peter out a little bit. So only 2 tanks remaining, really, and a handful of marines. He does need to make sure that this base is secured. If he loses this base, he might very well be out of the game. A scan does go down to make sure the burrowed zerglings do not harass this mineral line any further. And meanwhile, Yugioh is researching neuroparasite. A lot of roaches out for Yugioh. And wow, what a crazy game. Once again, this overlord being annoying and pooping creep all over the place. And these infestors are going to try and jaws their way into this base. He does get a nice fungal off on these marines. This turret will be able to finish in time, however. And with it, he's going to start to get shelled by this tank and marines. He's going to lose all of his infestors. Yes, he does lose all of his infestors, but he still has a small handful here. And this roach count will be enough to take out the rest of the tanks at this position. So looking at the units tab, it's 12 roaches and 13 infestors to just 22 marines, 1 tank, and a medevac, and a Hellion. And those 2 Vikings don't really count for much. But that marine tank is really starting to dwindle here. QXC is in a lot of trouble now. He just doesn't have the income necessary to support an army. And if he cannot defend this push, Zerg will be very, very, very far ahead. He's being a little bit indecisive with this infestors. A lot of infested Terrans are going down. He does neuroparasite one of the tanks. His marines will be able to stem up and kill the infestor. And I think this drop has been taken care of. A couple of infested Terrans may be enough to take out this tank. No, they will be picked off by the rest of the marines. And so really just resetting for both players. More drones to saturate this base as well. Let's look at the income tab. It's only 42 to 37, so neither player can really commit to making any workers. But Zerg, of course, has to make more workers. Meanwhile, the 6 is going down for Yugioh. And now that QXC has this mining base, it looks like he's going to go for a drop. That's a bit of a tricky situation there for a second. And as well, a hive is going down for Yugioh. And if he can get out broodlords, man, that would be GG, because QXC just does not have the income he needs to support a mech army or any of that sort, or Viking production really to take out the broodlords. Zergling's trying to push in here. If he could really deny this expansion, he would more than likely win the game, but he does need to take care of this push going into the middle. Nicely done by QXC, forcing this army back. And meanwhile, the drop will go into the main, and Marines will begin to pick away at the spire. There's nothing here to defend. The spine crawler is frantically trying to get back into place. Queen is using her transfuse on the spawning pool as well. She needs to. She does get one transfuse off. Another transfuse does not go down, and the spawning pool goes down. QXC doing a nice job with that harass, and has managed to pull himself back into the game, as forcing Yugioh to make another spawning pool. Look at the supplies here. QXC is finally pulled ahead, 130 to 106. And while we do have a small engagement here, but Terran will be able to grab this position. A lot more roaches are starting to push in, but nice tank spread from QXC. I'm not sure what these infestors are trying to accomplish here. Getting a few more fungals off, but I mean, really, QXC just has too many tanks and too many Marines, and there's just not enough army here for Yugioh. Meanwhile, another drop has been loaded up and will likely go for this base and clear out more drones. Yes, he will. This infestor could defend, but he's getting out of position. The spine won't be able to do very much, and the drop does commence. And now if he can pick away at this base as well, that would be huge. 2 Zerglings are not enough to do. Oh no, he misses his fungal, and well, the medevac does go down, but all these drones have been picked off. And while the siege is just doing more and more damage, he's just crouching further and further to Yugioh's base. More tanks are in the back, ready to siege up at a moment's notice. And this drop is still going on. He takes down the hatchery. Another big win there for QXC. And meanwhile, another drop has occurred in the main. So nice multi-pronged drops. The army can't be everywhere at once. And I think he's going to focus down the banelings first, and then he's going to focus down the spire. I don't think one infestor is going to be able to stop this. A lot of Marines do go down, but 4 stim Marines will be enough to take out this spire. Very big win there for QXC. And now Yugioh is left with just an infestation pit. He has a spawning pool and a baneling nest and a roach warren, so he won't be able to make any mutalisks. He won't be able to make any hive units. Really, he just doesn't have the income. So really, really nice play by QXC, getting himself way back into the game. Now the supply advantage is in QXC's court. It's still 131 now to 93, so a nice 40 supply lead. And while tanks are beginning to siege up again. But let's go ahead and look at this base. It is starting to run low on minerals, and after a while here, I don't think he'll be able to hold on to the base. This tank will start to chill away at its own units, but nice Marine spread here from QXC will not make that tank fire as useful, and just losing a lot of infestors there. I don't think that Yugioh can continue to throw away units like this, but there's just not very many units for either player here. Another drop going down in the main by QXC, and he's just being so annoying with these pushes, with these drops. I'm going to pick off another Overlord, and these 2 infestors are going to try to fungal these Marines. 1 Marine does remain, and actually is able to kill off this roach. I can't believe this 1 Marine, he is still alive, and I don't think Yugioh wants to waste any more fungal on that Marine. No, he's just going to drop 2 infested Terran, and even with 2 infested Terrans going at him, if Yugioh can actually start to pick away this medevac, no, he's going to try and kill the Marine, but 2 infested Terran do not kill a 3-3 Marine that is getting killed by medevac. And the Marine is doing so much harass. Meanwhile, yet another drop for QXC. If he can clean up this base right here, Yugioh might be very well out of it. This is his only mining base, I think. Yeah, so last mining base. And the Marines are going to come in here and pick off so many of these drones. Only a handful have survived. I think that's only 9 workers left for Yugioh. He is in so much trouble, and if this base goes down, Yugioh is not going to have this game whatsoever. Only 1 infestor to narrow this tank, and no, I think no, that was a bad idea too. The Marines are just too far forward. He can't continue to lose infestors like that. Every unit counts at this point in time in the game, especially since he lost his expansion. These drones being forced to long range mine, but they will suffer the wrath of the siege tanks. And now QXC, he's also mined out this base as well. So both players going for these mineral patches right here. But I mean, Yugioh just doesn't have much left. He can't afford anything right now. Only 27 minerals remain. And no, these drones are going to go right back into the siege tank fire. He's going to lose so many drones. And I think after that, oh my god, all the drones do go down. Let's look at the income tab, 6 to 39. And I think at this point, Yugioh is dead. Yeah, so QXC is just going to stem up and engage these roaches. And that will do it for the game, ladies and gentlemen. QXC takes the match. Very nicely done. Very well done with the drops. The harass, and I really like that nuke opening. That was just incredible. I don't think I've seen that before. Not that well executed. But anyways, guys, I hope you guys enjoyed the cast. I've been your host, King Ruthless, as always, and I will see you guys next time. Peace.